Florian Wirtz is the new Martin Odegaard. Yep, you heard that right, and you're probably already hovering over that unsubscribe button. But hear us out, stick around for just a bit and you'll see exactly why we're saying this, just give us a chance. Sure, it's only been 2 pre-season games so far, but even from those, we can already see what the 22-year-old is bringing to Anfield. And honestly, the fee we paid for him might end up looking like an absolute bargain. From his quick feet in tight spaces, to how he might actually shine at something Odegaard is already praised for, think of this video as our own little scouting report on Wirtz. We're going to break down his performances from those first 2 games, and point out a few things you probably missed when you watched them yourself. So hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and let's get right into it. We'll start with the in-possession stuff, basically, what Wirtz was doing when Liverpool had the ball. Against AC Milan, he looked like he had almost complete freedom on the pitch. He was roaming around using his sharp positional awareness and football IQ to find little pockets of space or drag players with him to mess with Milan's structure. Let's look at one example. Same exactly happened against Yokohama. In this moment, we started the build-up in a 3-1 shape, but since Milan went man-to-man in their first line of press, we needed more numbers dropping deep. Elliott was the one who dropped to help out and offer a passing option. Milan's centre-back looked ready to follow him all the way up the pitch, but he didn't, and that was all down to Wirtz's smart positioning and movement. Wirtz dropped deeper himself but kept just enough distance from the centre-back to cause hesitation. And right when Elliott received the ball, Wirtz made a fake run in behind, just enough to freeze the defender and stop him from stepping out to close down Harvey. It was a small detail, but it made a big difference in keeping the play flowing. This kind of clever movement is going to be huge against teams that defend with a back 5 and ask their centre-backs to jump into midfield or even higher up. So yeah, we might actually be in for a fun time when we face Manchester United. Now, how does Flo always seem to find the right space at just the right moment? The answer is pretty simple. It's all about how often and how well he scans. In that same sequence, once the ball started progressing, you could see Flo constantly scanning his surroundings. And it's not just quick glances. He's properly checking his shoulders, reading whether he's about to be marked or if he has space to attack. But scanning isn't just about looking over your shoulder, it's also about recognizing what's right in front of you. In this sequence, Wirtz spots a gap opening up in the middle of the pitch, and times his movement perfectly to arrive in that space. Little things like this show just how sharp his awareness really is. That same kind of clever movement was also behind Wirtz's very first goal for the club, which came against Yokohama in our recent 3-1 win. Credit where it's due, Jones did brilliantly here, reading the play and intercepting the ball to kickstart a quick transition. If you freeze the frame, you'll see Wirtz reacting instantly. The second he noticed Jones stepping in, he started sprinting forward. But what's really impressive is how he chose to attack his marker's blindside instead of running in front of him. Why does that matter? Because it meant the defender had no clue where he was. A few seconds later, Wirtz arrived inside the box completely unmarked and calmly slotted the ball home. By this point, we're pretty sure you're convinced that Florian is one of the most intelligent players in world football. But if you're still not fully sold, make sure to check out our full in-depth analysis on the player where we break down more of his football IQ. For now though, let's shift from the off-ball stuff and look at what Wirtz does once he actually gets himself into receiving positions. In this moment, you can see him doing exactly what he's supposed to, arriving into space. But there's one problem, he's not facing his teammate, which means he can't realistically receive the ball. Then watch what happens next. He quickly adjusts, twisting his body and putting pressure on his dominant foot to turn and face the pass. Now look, we're not biomechanics experts or anything, we just love breaking down the game. But this kind of body control, where you force a turn using your strong foot and hips, then fake one way before exploding in another direction, that's not something you see every day. That is special. And the best part of this whole sequence, it actually comes right after. Wirtz does receive the ball, but he doesn't just stop it dead at his feet. Watch closely. He takes a subtle little back step just before the ball reaches him. That tiny move gives him even more separation from the incoming defender and lets the ball roll across his body smoothly. This kind of footwork is exactly what makes Wirtz so dangerous in tight spaces. He creates space not just by dribbling, but by using clever side and back steps to give himself that extra second, and that second is often all he needs to make something happen. What followed was just as impressive. He carried the ball explosively away from pressure and then played an almost perfect through ball. Those two moments were like cherries on top of an already brilliant sequence. And with more time on the pitch and better connection with his new teammates, those kinds of final third actions will definitely start turning into goals and assists. So guys, just to be clear, we're not trying to gaslight you with that bold statement we made at the start of the video. You know, the one about Wirtz being the new Odegaard? Give us a second to explain exactly what we meant. The thing is, even some Arsenal fans have raised concerns about their captain. Some feel he doesn't always show up in certain moments, while others believe his performance drops whenever Saka is out of the lineup. But let's be clear, we're not talking about what Odegaard does on the ball. Wirtz is already ahead in that department, and that's just facts. What we're focusing on is what Odegaard does without the ball, specifically his pressing game. Odegaard is absolutely vital to the way Arteta wants his team to press. It's probably one of the big reasons he rarely gets dropped. He leads the press from the front, is relentless with his effort, times his jumps perfectly, curves his runs to close down space, and constantly forces mistakes. And here's where it gets exciting. Even though it was just a friendly, we spotted some things in Wirtz's game that suggest he could become an absolute pressing monster too. In this moment, you can see Wirtz making a really smart pressing run. His goal isn't just to press one player, he's pressing two, while also shadow marking a midfielder and cutting off the passing lane. And he pulls it off perfectly. He helps lock the play to one side and completely denies Milan any central access. But he didn't stop there. Wirtz kept up the pressure, chasing down the keeper and forcing him to go long. That kind of intensity gives us a much better chance to win the ball back higher up the pitch. It's a small moment, but it shows just how switched on he is, even without the ball. Keeping that kind of intensity while pressing two or more players is a rare trait. It takes serious physical ability and quick decision making, and that's exactly what makes Odegaard so valuable. But guess what? Wirtz has it too, and that's not all. Just look at the footwork on that little demon. The guy looks like he's about to break dance before he even starts pressing. That kind of movement totally messes with the ball carrier. Is he coming from inside to outside? Is he trying to force the pass back to the keeper? They can't tell. Then, just when they hesitate, Wirtz bursts forward, using his acceleration to close down and jump the carrier, forcing the opposition into mistakes. So yeah, that's our breakdown of why we think Florian Wirtz could be the next Martin Odegaard. In a good way, and maybe even more than that. What we've seen from him so far in just a couple of games is seriously exciting. The way he moves, the way he reads the game, and how comfortable he looks in and out of possession, it's hard not to get a little hyped. And again, this is just the beginning. With more time, more chemistry, and more confidence, we could be watching a real star take off right in front of us. But now we want to hear from you. Do you agree with the comparison to Odegaard? Or do you think Wirtz brings something completely different to the table? And what do you think his numbers will look like by the end of the season? Drop your thoughts in the comments, we'll be reading through all of them. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe if you haven't already, and turn on that bell so you're here for all the breakdowns coming next. Appreciate all the love, we'll catch you in the next ones.